Oh boy. You know, I didn't know if I was going to record this. And I'm still not sure if I want to record this, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I figure this is important, and my audience deserves to understand what I was going through. And not only that, but if you're going through something similar, you deserve the chance to hear about it and know if you're in the same situation. And to my ex, who is probably watching this, I really hope you listen until the very end to understand the issues. 3 years ago, I got into a relationship. Now, there was already a pretty big red flag. At no point did he ever ask me out, like, do you want to date? Do you want to go out with me? Anything like that. He just assumed, because we kept flirting, and he was like, yeah, we're dating, which is already a huge red flag. To him, he said, well, asking you out is stupid. No, that's asking for consent on the matter. Because at the end of the day, you need to ask somebody, hey, are we dating? Are we going out? What are we doing? You have to ask. Because they might not even think that. For all you could have known is we were just having fun flirting. It could have just been that. You didn't know. Before I started dating him, I hadn't been in a relationship for a very long time. Every single relationship I have ever been in has been toxic in some way. Except for one, which actually ended pretty well. It ended on mutual terms. We stayed friends. We just figured out we were better as friends. And that was probably the only healthy relationship I ever had. Now, when I do say toxic relationships in the past, I mean it from both sides. In the past, I was also toxic, and the other person was. Sometimes I was genuinely the best partner I could ever be, and it was just that person. Sometimes, sadly, that's just how it is, and I took time to learn about myself, to try and get better for my mental health, to be a good partner, and to not break if things went south. And I'm really glad I took that time, because when all was said and done, I did not collapse, I did not break. I took time to myself to heal and to think about what I could have done better, or if I did do anything wrong. I asked my friends their opinions and thoughts, and we all came to this same consensus. That's a hard word. My ex is a narcissist. And I don't mean that in the way like he acted like an a-hole, which he did. No, I mean, I'm pretty sure he is a narcissist in the mentally ill form. Like, to a T. I asked my friends about it. I kept asking them how they felt. And for a long time, he would constantly say, I think your friends hate me. I don't think they like me. And he was right. They didn't like you. It was because you're an asshole. You would treat them badly. You were rude to them. You would use them for money. Just like the person that you complain about that was our ex-friend. You acted the exact same way. You would privately fat shame our friends. And I will acknowledge that I also took part in shaming our own friends. And I've apologized to our friends for that. I owned up to that. I knew that I was a bad person while dating you. You made me a worse person, while I tried to make you a better person. When we first started dating, he would constantly complain and throw fits. I remember very vividly, it was maybe a few days after we started dating. I woke up, I started chatting to my friends, just like any other day. It was a very normal morning to me. I then went to DM you, and you promptly threw a fit, because I did not message you first, because I didn't talk to you first. So after that, every single day, I had to message you first. I could not talk to my friends before you. Every single day. If I did anything, I had to tell you. If I needed to bathe, I had to tell you. If I took too long pooping, I had to tell you. You would throw fits because I would walk off and go and talk to somebody in my own home. So eventually I had to start avoiding people so that I wouldn't talk to them for too long, because God forbid I talk to my own roommates. When I visited my own family that I hadn't seen in nearly 3 years, you threw a fit. Because I didn't talk to you 24/7, because I didn't have the internet to, and I was hanging out with my family. When I wanted to hang out with my friends late at night because I had worked the entire day in order to make money to give to you so that you could buy things like food, clothes, or anything else, you would throw a fit because I was taking time off and not spending it with you when you could have easily hung out with all of us, but you didn't want to because you didn't like my friends. But you did like taking their money. You sent one of my closest friends into debt that she is currently trying to get out of because of you. For the entire 3 years that I've dated you, you never once got a job. You lied constantly. I told you at the beginning of our relationship that you needed to go to therapy. You needed to get put on antidepressants or something in order to help your mental health. And you tried, and honestly, at this point, I don't think you did. I'm pretty sure you lied about that. I went to therapy. I sought out help. I talked to people. I got put on different medications to help myself. You consistently lied to me about going and seeking therapy. You lied about going and finding a job. I had to ask Sal if that was true, and she told me no. When Sal started losing weight, you got mad and said she was doing it wrong and that she should just embrace being fat when she didn't want to. She wanted to change her life and start being healthier because you were so miserable in your own skin. You didn't want to change. If there's one thing I can tell my entire audience, it's that when you're with somebody that makes you miserable and you actively try to avoid them, don't be with them. I stayed with him because I genuinely thought nobody would ever love me. I did, and I kind of still do, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm disabled, chronically ill, trans. I figured nobody's really ever gonna want to date me. And I don't say that to make other people that watch me or that are in the same circumstances to feel bad about themselves, because you shouldn't. This is something I need to get through, something that I'm learning to get through to love myself and be okay with myself. And the worst part is that he made me believe that to an extent. If I had to say anything, he was the type of narcissist who he never once thought he was necessarily better than other people, although he did, but in a self-hate kind of way. He would constantly rip on other artists, but then he would pout because other companies wouldn't hire him. He'd be mean about other people and what they can and cannot do, but then he would be mean to himself and depressed. And I think a lot of that is because he wanted the satisfaction of compliments. For a long time, I was trying to stream and upload every single week, but I couldn't do that because I would take time away from him. If I streamed, then he would get mad because it was time that we weren't hanging out. If I went to record a video, he would get mad. It was time we weren't hanging out. So for a long time, my upload schedule was terrible because of him. I couldn't edit things. I couldn't do things. I kept trying to get him to do things, to get a job, even start streaming just for fun, and he wouldn't. And I, at first, was trying to be supportive and kind and would tell him, you can do it, you would be amazing at it. And I still do believe he would be really good at it because he has a nice voice and to some extent he is funny. But it was constant. Would I be good at this? Yes. But would I? Yeah. But would I really? Yes. After a while, I just got sick of it, if I'm being perfectly honest. Asking that same question every single day and expecting me to always be like, yeah, baby, you'll be amazing at it, got exhausting. Either do it or don't. I don't care. You're in control of your life. I'm not going to sit back every single day and just tell you, yeah, do the thing. Oh, you're so amazing. You're so perfect. If you're not going to, then I'm not going to waste that energy. If you don't want to stream, don't stream. If you do, then do. He would actively try to, I guess, live out his fantasy of being a streamer or a YouTuber through me, and he would criticize me all the time that I was doing something wrong. You're streaming this wrong. This layout is terrible. You edited this wrong. I'm not going to watch that because that's just not what I like. It's wrong, though. It was constantly being pushed down. Every single day. And I think that's what also started to make me exhausted of complimenting you, because every day it was another way to push me down. If I didn't draw him exactly right, he would throw a fit. Yeah, you heard that right. If I made him art that I took time out of my day to make for him while I was busy with commissions and other work, he would get mad at me because I didn't draw him right. It was a constant struggle every time I wanted to draw him, and I got sick of it, so I stopped drawing him. If I drew him too skinny, too fat. I made his beard wrong. I couldn't draw masculine men as right. I did this and this and this wrong. When I drew my own original characters for a comic that I'm making, Flirting, he got mad because it wasn't he and I. I was originally going to make a game that I was really excited to make, and I made concept art for it, and he got mad at me because he didn't like how the protagonist looked. The characters were loosely based off of us, and he got mad because I made the protagonist muscular and tall. It's not how I look. Okay, but it's not you. It's not supposed to be you. It's a cute story based around us a little bit, but it's not you. The other character doesn't look anything like me. What's the deal? I'm confused, buckaroo. It was this constant battle, this constant fight of him being right and me being wrong. When we would argue and fight, and I would tell him, this thing you do hurts me, he would turn it around and say, well, actually, you're the one that's hurting me. Actually, it's you. You're the bad one. We could never once discuss him as a person and what he's done to me, because he always had to turn it around and fight me. And if I told him something he did was wrong, he would say, oh, so I'm the bad guy, I guess? So I'm a terrible person? I'm the worst person that has ever existed? I'm scum of the earth? And I will 100% admit, when we started dating, I did the same thing. I also was like, I suck. I'm terrible. And that's not okay. Don't do that. And I started to realize that's not what you're supposed to do. After a while, I started to realize, actually, wait, this is wrong. And I started to especially realize it because I saw a lot of videos of people saying, don't do that. That is emotional abuse. When you start to say things like that, that is classified as emotional abuse. And I agree with that. And I will never do that again. At the very least, I'll try my damn best not to. But he would do it. And I would tell him to stop. And he wouldn't. He was, by definition, a narcissist. And I do want him to get help. But I don't think he ever will. I think for the rest of his life, he's going to sit back and think he's in the right. I think for the rest of his life, he's going to sit back and he's going to tell people that I was the crazy ex who destroyed his life and ruined it because I didn't want to sit back and just deal with him abusing me every single day. There came a point where I just didn't want to wake up. And I don't mean that necessarily as in, like, not be alive. I mean, like, I would sleep for 20 some odd hours a day just because I literally didn't want to be awake and deal with him. I would lie at some point because I would just be on my phone in bed ignoring him because I didn't want to be awake to deal with him. I had to drop so many of my interest for him. I didn't play games for about 3 years because of him. My favorite games, I had to stop playing. And a lot of them I had to stop playing because he would get mad at the characters I liked in it. He would get jealous of fictional characters. My comfort characters as an autistic person that I essentially need to, like, cope with reality. Because, yes, it is actually a pretty healthy thing to have a comfort character that you rely on when you're sad, that you can just go to and feel better. I couldn't play Dragon Age because it's a game where you romance and flirt with people, and he would get mad at me for that. I couldn't post about Assassin's Creed because the character I liked in it I thought was cute, and he got jealous of me about that. I couldn't post about really any game I would ever play because whenever I play a game, there's characters in it that I crush on, and he would get mad at me for. If I'm being perfectly honest, any partner that I have ever dated and will ever date, if they crush on a fictional character, I don't care. They're not real. They're not a real person. Hell, if they find real people attractive that are celebrities, I don't care. They have no chance with them. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I mean, like, me having a crush on Henry Cavill, I have no chance with that man. Never. I'll never even meet him. Who cares if I crush on him? I don't care. But I've also learned over time to not be an overly jealous person because it destroys relationships. I never wrote a script for this, if you can tell. I'm just going off on a tangent because it's been 3 years of misery and suffering with that man, and I'm fed up with it. And for anybody wondering, yes, do not fear, I will be seeking a therapist. I'm hoping to get one once the pandemic is not so terrible, which it seems to be lessening in America. So I'm hoping to be able to get a therapist soon so I can talk with somebody in a healthy manner about all of the crap that I've dealt with over the years. I saw something recently, and it's stuck with me. And it is the fact that if you're abused as a child by your parents, that abuse will follow you into future relationships. And I'm not saying that to make you scared or anything like that. I'm saying that to acknowledge it, because I acknowledge that now. I realize that I went after somebody who acted just like my mother. My mother's a narcissist. She would hurt me and then turn around and say, "Oh, but I love you so much. You mean the world to me." And he would do the exact same thing. I would have these extreme lows and then extreme highs because he would hurt me and then turn around and be like, "You mean the world to me. I want to marry you. You're the best thing that ever happened in my life. I would never hurt you." And it made me genuinely feel like I was going crazy because he would affect me so badly. He would make me feel like maybe I'm not being abused. I mean, he loves me. Why would somebody that loves me hurt me? And I thought that on a daily basis. I constantly wondered what I did wrong. What am I doing that's so wrong? Why am I being hurt like this? And if I did fight back, I became the enemy. He would yell at me and say, "Why am I hurting him?" And it sucked. He acted just like my mother. And when I told him that, and I would point it out, he would get mad at me, and he would yell at me. And personally, if my partner told me that the way I acted reminded them of their childhood abuser, I would feel terrible. I would ask, how can I fix this? What can I do to not remind you of your trauma from when you were a child? He could care less because I was so easy to manipulate. I think I'm a nice person. I think I'm pretty kind and generous, and I might not think highly of myself, but I do think I'm a pretty kind person. I do my best to improve myself as a person, and if people tell me I did something wrong, I do my best to improve upon that. I give my friends things to show my love and affection. I constantly check in on them, and I just want them to feel loved. And I think it's that kindness and softness that oftentimes leads people into my life that will take advantage of that. And over time, I've become a hardened person because of it. I'm scareder of people. I don't let many people into my lives anymore because I'm scared that they'll do the exact same thing that keeps happening over and over and over again. And And if you do try to reach out to me and talk to me and I am bad at replying, it's because of those events in my life that has led me to be terrified of people, to not reach out and not be sure how to talk to others because I'm so scared of it happening again. I wish I didn't have to go through things like this to be able to see the red flag so easily. I can't sit back and say I'm glad that I know better now, because I wish I never had to know better. If you're dating somebody, or even in a friendship with somebody, and they act like any of that, please drop them. Drop them. You don't need them. I was pushed away from my friends for 3 years. So my closest friends, I wasn't able to talk to. He would constantly rag on these people that I had known for 8 years and tell me that they were terrible people, that they were trying to use me. So I couldn't talk to them because I was terrified. I couldn't hang out with them in calls or play games with him because he would get mad and say that I didn't love him because I was hanging out with friends. Friends that he had, that he could have joined in on, but he refused. I'm going to be honest. I'm glad he's out of my life. I am a happier person. I'm doing way better mentally and emotionally, and my friends can see that. And I've asked them, was I wrong? What did I do that was wrong? And they might have not seen deep within our relationship, but they saw how he acted. When we argued in chat, he would get mad because people would think ill of him. He would delete messages of him yelling at my friends and me because what if they think I'm a bad person? Instead of owning up to it and acknowledging and trying to improve, he could only think of himself and how people viewed him. That's not okay. That's not what you should be worried about. It's 2020. And 2021 is around the corner, and it has been rough on us all. But if 2020 has taught me anything, it is to remove people from my life that I don't want in there, who affect me like that. It was 3 years of my life down the drain. 3 years of my life where I became a worse person. And I still do hope that he will get better, that he'll go to therapy and his therapist will say, you're a narcissist. The way you act and treat people is terrible. I'm sorry this video is so long and rambly, and I don't think there really is a point other than just venting about this and why I've been so absent from YouTube and just generally acting the way I do, I guess. I think I'm doing better. I'm going to do better. And maybe relationships aren't for me. Who am I to say? But what I do know is that if anybody walks into my life that acts like that ever again, I am hard blocking them. I'm removing them from my life because I'm not going through that ever again. And I think all of us deserve better. Thank you for taking your time to hang out with me today and listen to me. I'm sorry this video isn't as peppy as I would have liked it to be, or as fun as I would have liked it to be, but I hope that maybe by listening you've learned a bit about me and maybe why I just was so absent from YouTube and some of life in general. Some short quick announcements. 1, my comic is now being public. I have links down below. Yeehaw. And number 2, I would like to thank my patrons who so lovingly support me each month, and we'll be getting this video for this month. I'm going to try to get a Halloween video around here, but who knows. To my absolutely stunning $10 Patreons, we got Rakuin, we have Barry Onyx, we have Nightmares, Rosemary, The Wanderer Raven, and Stroncules. To my $30 Patreon, we have Lee. And to my $60 Patrons, we have Don and Noah. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and just being absolutely amazing and stunning. Yeah, I'm sorry there just hasn't been a lot of content as of late. I was dealing with that. And working on my comic and trying to get things done, and yeah, and here we are. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful October and Halloween. I'll try to get a Halloween video out. Try my best. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. And hey, drink some water. Bye.